Good morning, welcome to First Impressions. Today we are out on Suzuki's new GSX S1000GT. So this is a bike they brought out about 3 or 4 years ago and have just done a major revision on. So I rode the first bike, it wasn't bad, but it did have some shortcomings. So pretty interested to get out today and ride the new one. We'll have a bit of a walk around in a minute and have a look at it, but it's pretty nice. It's 19,990, so 20 grand in Australia, which is a bit scary. When I picked it up yesterday, I went, it actually seems like good value for money. Last week, and we're going to compare them, I rode the Yamaha GT Tracer and did a review on that, check the link. And that's a 24, nearly 25 grand bike. So this is its direct competition. And a few things about it. It's got Suzuki's K6 1000cc motor. That's the motor that came out 06 to 08 in the Gixxer, and it's a long stroke motor, fantastic, legendary motor, so uber smooth riding it. KYB adjustable suspension on it, Brembo brakes, so you know, it's pretty well fitted out, and at 19, 20 grand, it's a pretty nice thing. So let's have a close look at it. The first thing I'd say is they've done a much better job, I think, on the styling. It felt like the old model of this, or the old version, which is only 2 or 3 years old. It had sort of taken the naked bike and just dropped a fairing on it. So when you have a look at this, they've gone for that really angular look, but it's a pretty good look, and I love the colour. Comes in a couple of colours, this and a much darker blue, but I probably prefer the light blue. So let's have a good look at it. As I say, got a really nice, got the Brembo mono blocks on it, KYB fully adjustable suspension, so they've got rebound, spring load and compression on the front, and just rebound compression on the rear. Some of the nice things about this that I like is that even for a factory bike, have a look at the exhaust, looks half neat and tidy. You know, some of them, you look at the GSXRs and that, they've got massive cans on them. So it is an exhaust from an aesthetics point of view you could certainly live with. Yeah, and really nice fit and finish on it. They do a set of factory panniers, because obviously meant as a touring bike. They do a set of factory panniers, just about impossible to get hold of at the moment. So whoever's making those for Suzuki can't keep up. So, but they're fantastic, look great, color coded for the bike, and they come on and off in about 15 seconds. So really nice improvements, that TFT screen. Done a really good job. It's got a few riding modes you'll see there at the top right. You've got an A, B and C, which I don't know why Suzuki just don't call it sport, road and wet, but anyway, there's 5 traction control modes, so there's a bit to play around with. So yeah, decent fit out on it. Dunlop Sports Max tyres and 190, so really nice profile at the back, going to be nice and comfortable for touring. Ergonomics fantastic on it. They've moved the handlebars from the previous model back about 12 mil. I think they made them about 20 mil, somewhere around, someone might correct me, but about 20 mil wider. So it's kind of a really nice feel. Things like quick shift, bi-directional, up and down, standard, a 19 litre fuel tank, so good touring range. Yeah, so you look at it and go, kind of ticked all the boxes. When you get on it at first, it feels like a long bike, but it certainly doesn't ride like that. I think it's the way the mirrors are so far forward. But yeah, let's get on and have a ride and have some fun. Yeah, really enjoying the Suzuki. I find the ergonomics are just about perfect on it. You know, super comfy. Done a good job. As I say, they brought those handlebars back a little bit wider. So for a touring bike, yeah, it feels very kind of comfortable but sporty at the same time. Very predictable. And I haven't played with the suspension setup at all, so I'd probably, you know, for me, I'd be putting a little bit more rebound on the front. It's a little bit hard hitting there, but very smooth, you know, when you're cruising along like this. Just eats up the roads, and you know, turn in sharp and fast. So yeah, done a really good combination of getting it from, you know, where if you do want to ride a little bit harder, then it can be nice and sporty, but if you just want to cruise on it, it'll do that all day. Got a nice note to it, you know, got a nice sound. The can sounds alright by fat, and it's fast by, you know, you're not going to be disappointed with the lack of power on this thing. 152 horsepower, and it's an angry 152, let me tell you. It feels like more than that. Just watch a little bit of gravel up here. Yeah, just lovely the way it rolls on like that. And the quick shift, once you're into it, really nice. It's interesting, after riding the Yamaha last week, as I say, when I first got on this, it felt like a bigger bike than the Yamaha, the Tracer. And yeah, the Tracer initially felt more agile, but you know, I'm not actually so sure. I think, as I say, the way the fairing on this feels a bit longer, but it is more angled back, so I think it's got a more sporty kind of vibe to it. But once you get riding it, gee, it'd be hard put between the two. I mean, the Yamaha might have a slight edge, and as I say, I haven't set up the suspension yet, in that the Yamaha's got that KYB electronic adjustable suspension, which was really impressive. But you know, once you get this set up, you know, it's pretty good. Gee, there's nothing, certainly no surprises. It's predictable. Those Brembo monoblocks, fantastic front brakes. The dash is really nice to look at, really crystal clear, as you can probably see there, and certainly very easy to navigate through the different, you know, traction control and engine mapping and that. The engine mapping does a really good job, to be honest. In that's that sports mode, so that's, you know, the most responsive throttle, full power, etc. That's, you know, where it's going to bite hardest, which is really nice. But you know, you drop it back into B, which is like a road mode, then it's much more noticeably softer to come on, still getting full power. And then the last one, rain mode, feels like you're truly in a rain mode. You know, it's very, you know, unresponsive, if you like, which is probably what you want if the weather's crap. I reckon you get a fraction more wind buffeting on this than I did on the Yamaha last week, but it's still nothing, you know, nothing you'd complain about at all. And I do prefer, I think the Yamaha screen's quite upright. This is a bit more stylish, a bit more integrated with the fairing. So yeah, so far a really impressive bike. And you've got to love that K6 motor. I mean, it is just so smooth, so much power, and it makes good torque down low, and then it just screams when you get up in the rev range. And look, it actually sounds good with just the factory exhaust on it, which looks good as well. So, you know, unless you really want a much louder bike, don't waste your money. You know, this is fantastic. One of the things that this doesn't have, that for a touring bike, you know, it's right on 20 grand, you can argue, you know, it does seem like good value for money, but it doesn't have heated grips. That's a Suzuki factory option. And yeah, I mean, if you're doing a lot of touring and you're in cold weather, you're going to want that. But they do bolt straight on, integrate. Suzuki have got an app, a ride app that does through your phone all your navigation, your GPS, you know, a whole bunch of stuff that you can do through the dash. So that's pretty trick. They're getting up with, you know, the latest of everyone in technology. And you know, in fairness, some of that for a number of years Suzuki have languished a bit, so nice to see that they've gone to things like full TFT dashes, you know, integrating it with apps and just giving you the luxuries that if you're doing a lot of miles on a bike, it's nice to play your music through there and see what your tunes are and everything like that. So no, really impressive. So here's probably the $20,000 or $24,000 question. If you're in this market, you kind of go, Suzuki and Yamaha got a couple of great bikes. Part of it's going to come down to preference. If it was my money, I'm buying the Suzuki. I'm going to go, I love that K6 motor. The ergonomics, the way this rides are fantastic. It's 4,000, nearly 5 grand cheaper. It is super quick when you want it to be. It's agile, it turns nicely. As I say, a little bit of tweaking on the suspension to set it up for you and the way you ride.
And don't get me wrong, the Yamaha Tracer is a really good bike, so you want to ride both, I reckon. But for my money, and I do have a bit of a soft spot for Suzuki, but this would be the thing. I really like this. And you know, that motor, here you are, 6 gear, just rolling along 60-70 kilometers an hour, and you just peel it on and it just wants to go. And it's linear, it's smooth, it's tractable, and if you knock it back a few gears, it's an angry beast. Yeah, that's a fun toy. So yeah, in conclusion, I reckon this is one of the most fun bikes that I've got to ride this year. It's got a huge amount of grunt. It's an easy bike to ride. It just, you know, so beautifully balanced, nicely finished, and it's simple, it's straightforward, really nice dash on it. Suspension's a little on the firm side depending on the road, but that would be probably its only shortcoming. The seat's uber comfortable, the fairing on it's great, so, and it's just a fun thing to ride. It changes direction well, it stops fantastic. So and look, at under 20 grand for a serious 1000cc, you know, sports touring bike, it's probably about as good as you're going to get, I reckon. So yeah, I would be giving this right up 9 out of 10. Well done, Suzuki. I just love the way they've done this and the fit and finish, the whole bike. So yeah, I reckon if you're thinking about a road bike that's versatile and can do a whole lot of stuff, then you'd want to go and give yourself a ride on this, and I reckon you're going to come away with a really big smile on your face. So hey, thanks for tuning in. Got lots more bikes to do over summer, so but that's my first impression on the pretty amazing Suzuki GSX S1000GT. Cool bike. Thanks guys.